Okay, so we are live now.
All right.
A very good morning and a warm welcome to everyone gathered here on this significant occasion of International Day of Person with Disabilities. On behalf of the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, I, Dr. Farha, extend my heartfelt greetings to our Honorable Chancellor, Professor Syed Wasim Akhtar, Pro Chancellor, Professor Nadeem Akhtar, Vice Chancellor, Professor Javed Musarraf, esteemed Dean Professor Shahid Ali Khan, respected Head Professor Zeba Akil, our special guest Dr. Ark Verma, faculty members, and dear students. Today's session holds great importance as our department strives to appreciate and support individuals with disabilities by highlighting their capabilities and empowering them. Before we commence the event, it is my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Ark Verma. Dr. Verma serves as an assistant professor of psychology in the Department of Cognitive Sciences at IIT Kanpur. An alumnus of the University of Allahabad, he completed his BA in psychology and MA in cognitive sciences from the Center for Behavioral and Cognitive Sciences in 2009. He then pursued his PhD in psychology from Belgium. His research pursuit encompasses lateralization of cognitive functions, visual word recognition, social cognition, and bilingualism. We are honored to have Dr. Verma join us today for this critical discussion. With that said, I would now like to hand over the stage to him for his valuable insight. Thank you, Dr. Verma, for joining us. All over to
Thank
you
you,
now.
Dr. Farah. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Farah, for the kind introduction and my regards to all those present here, the esteemed dignitaries of the Integral University, as well as the faculty and students who might be listening to the lecture today. It is interesting in a sense that I got invited to speak on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, having personally no experience of a disability, as well as not really being an expert on the topic. However, given my profession as a teacher and a psychologist, I thought I might as well try to, bring to light some of the issues that sometimes, get sort of sidelined in the overall conversation about people with disabilities. And this is what I will try to do today. It is interesting to note that when we start talking about this day that is celebrating the empowerment or is striving for the empowerment of persons with disabilities, we sometimes forget the most important ingredient. We sometimes forget to provide a voice to the most important aspect of this day, which is actually persons who are suffering or who have suffered through certain disabilities in their lives. Now, it is interesting also to point out that it is not a very small quantum of the human population on the earth that serves with disability, that has sort of faced this or suffered with a disability. I was looking through some data from the WHO, and it points out that almost 1.3 billion, which is close to around 16% of the world population, suffers from some kind of disability or the other. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be otherwise. And this certainly presents a great challenge that needs to be overcome in order for these people to lead their lives at least at par with those around them. And this is also something that we should note as people who are not uh, leading this kind of life, to be empathetic towards the people around us who may or who may be afflicted with any of these disabilities, is this appreciation for whatever we have. So I, looking inwards, one of the things that I thought that one could talk about is this idea of being very grateful and thankful that of whatever abilities we have. We have a tendency to sort of take for granted abilities like the ability to have a clear vision, have a clear sight, the ability to be able to hear clearly and respond to speech simile or something like that. Because what happens is, and I would encourage somebody who wants to sort of get a taste of this is maybe just put a drop of water in your eyes and try and see around, and the discomfort it causes, and the fact that you cannot see for a moment even makes you really vulnerable. It makes you irritable, and it makes you feel that the world is coming to an end. There are a bunch of anecdotes I was thinking about when I was thinking of this lecture, and one of the recent ones was my mother-in-law going to have a cataract operation, and it is interesting because cataract operation by age is something that happens to a lot of people. But talking to her, I understood that she was really suffering from the lack of clarity in vision, and it was really troubling her for a long time. And I was just listening that, okay, if this is the case where people, somebody suffering from a temporary lack in visual acuity is feeling so agitated, how would it be for people who do not have the uh, fortune to have a proper eyesight? Similarly, mobility is one of the other factors. If you are injured, or sometimes people have very simple things like a backache, and it sort of restricts your mobility. You will understand that it really is a struggle for people who have some kind of compromised mobility to go around and they lead their lives in a particular manner. It restricts the kind of opportunities that one has. It restricts the kind of vision one can have for their own life. It restricts the kind of uh, outcomes their efforts would create eventually. And this is something that, from where one could begin, once we start appreciating how important these things are, or also the fact that how important uh, our abilities are, that we will start understanding and start having a more empathetic view of people who do not have the fullest of their abilities, who do not have the pleasure of unrestricted mobility, unrestricted vision, or unrestricted audition, and there are different other kinds of disabilities as well that people suffer on and off. Again, in our country, recently there has been an awakening of sorts. People have become, and the governments have become more sensitive to the needs of our brothers and sisters who are suffering from these disabilities, because you could notice that we have seen a change in the terminology that has been used now. Given that this day is commemorated as such, I'm using the term disabilities a bit much, but you will see in government language, things are more on the lines of specially abled persons or Divyangjan, and so on and so forth. So there is, and I'm not sure that all of these terminologies are best suited, or we can use better terms, or whether we can be even more sensitive as people, and as I'm not an administrator, but as people and as administrators even. But the idea that I understand is that there is a growing sensitivity to the needs of people who have some of these issues, and a greater understanding of how we can moderate our environment to suit their needs, and to also provide them a leveled playing field for achieving whatever dreams they have, for achieving whatever goals they set for themselves. And it should not be it should not be seen as a favor that we are imparting them. It basically needs to be seen as their right. And one when one is providing the other with what is rightfully deserved, one is not really doing a favor. So you should not, or one should not feel that, oh, we are very good people because we are sort of sitting here today and talking about persons with disabilities. No, we are basically doing what is due for them, and we are basically trying to make the world uh, uh, have equal opportunities for everybody. I was going through one of the very interesting documents from WHO, and I'm citing that, where they said that these lack of mobility or vision or or vision or audition and so on, basically lead to what they call as health inequities. And health inequities are a major source of inequality in the way people lead their lives, in the opportunities available to them, in the kinds of jobs they would do, in the kind of salaries they would receive, in the kind of social image they would have, in the kind of familial or social relationships that they would go on to make. It sometimes becomes almost automatic that people have a sort of you could say, while there is empathy, and frankly speaking, while empathy is very difficult because you cannot really understand what somebody is going through unless you're also going through the same thing, and even then maybe it's a bit difficult. So from sympathy it comes to pity, and it comes to people being very patronizing towards individuals with disabilities. And that is something that I think we should address before we even talk about some of the other things. So one of the things that I keep wondering about since I got invited for this talk was, how does one change? How does one bring a change in one's own self in order to be more, empathetic, in order to be more facilitative, in order to have a more equanimous relationship with people around us who may be suffering with these, disabilities. So, to all the students here and also faculty colleagues, I think this is very important that we understand and appreciate what we have, and we also make an effort to be, as empathetic as we can, without being, without telling ourselves that, oh, this is a great deed that we're doing. We're probably not, isn't it? So that is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. There are other things that I thought, I would also talk about. One of them is basically how can we be as as institutions be more empathetic and be more facilitative towards people with disabilities, and this is basically reflects in a lot of types of constructions that we see, the kinds of facilities that people seek to provide to people with disabilities. By the way, this is also one of the more highlighted sustainable development goals from the United Nations. I think it comes under SDG 3, which basically talks about achieving sustainability goals with, for, and by people having disabilities. So this is pretty much in line with what the world is asking for at the moment, and I appreciate Integral University and my friend, my colleague and friend Dr. Farah, for organizing such a lecture, because it tells everybody that we are thinking about this and we are sort of thinking in the right direction. Because unless we have more discussions, unless we sit down and ponder about these things, the situations will change very slowly. And I was reading somewhere that we are way off the target of reaching the sustainable development goals by 2030. So it means that these efforts need to be taken fast, and these efforts need to be taken by everybody. From IIT Kanpur, I would like to also sort of say that as an institution, we are also becoming more and more sensitive to the needs of people with disabilities. When I walk around the campus, when I walk around our academic area, I see that a lot of constructions now have basically aligned to the needs of people, with restricted mobility, for example, or with restricted vision, for example. And the idea is we have a cell for people with disabilities, and that cell is looked after by a bunch of very enthusiastic students and a few colleagues who basically take care that the institute, which is all the faculties, the students, faculty families, staff who all reside in the campus, be more sensitive to these needs. So one of the examples I could see, I wanted to sort of point out, and I'm sure it's something that lots of institutions around the world are taking up, is the construction of these ramps alongside the stairs at almost every place in the campus. When I walk around, wherever there is a stair, there is a high chance that there is either a lift there, or in cases where the lift is not there, there is a ramp just besides the stair, so that people with restricted mobility have fewer issues, navigating those areas. Also, wheelchair-assisted bathrooms are becoming pretty common. They were not so many, or they were not so much there, and people were not really aware that they need to be constructed a few years ago. But I see that the institute is become much more sensitive to these kinds of needs, and I'm sure that institutions around the world are taking note and adapting themselves to the needs of people with disabilities. So, as an institution, we need to, empower the people. We need to tell them that we are there for you, and we are sensitive to every need that you might, face. And this could be in terms of creating resources that will help people overcome these challenges. And any effort in terms of, say, for example, construction of these kinds of things is one thing, but use of technology is another. And I see a lot of colleagues in the campus are very enthusiastically engaged in creating resources, creating tools for people, let's say, with restricted vision or audition, creating tools, creating technological innovations for these people to be able to read much like normal individuals would, to be able to partake in the teaching learning process much like normal individual would do. And a very interesting example, I'm sure this also happens everywhere else in the world, but I'm just sort of recounting a bunch of these anecdotes that I can remember, is that sometimes in our class that there is one or two students with albinism, and people suffering from albinism also have restricted vision. They are not able to withstand very bright light. They're not able to read in very small fonts. And it is a policy that IIT Kanpur has, and every instructor has, that for individuals with these kinds of issues, we print the question papers. When we print them, it is of a very large font size that is easily visible to students suffering from albinism, so that they do not face any problem because of the restricted vision. Also, there are efforts. Say, for example, if there is somebody, I've not come across many people with total vision loss in the campus, or maybe I'm missing something. But I understand that there are also efforts to sort of create resources and tools in the Braille script for people who may have complete vision loss, and to be able to sort of assist them on their path to learning better, on their path to sort of realizing their academic ambitions and so on. So these are just some of the examples that I would like to point out by saying that institutions around the world, those which already are, and those which might do well, to realize that we need to be able to facilitate people with disabilities. We need to understand very empathetically whatever their needs are, and we need to invest in these things. We need to invest in being able to provide level ground to people with disabilities, so that they can also come out, participate in the processes much like normal individuals do. And I'm sure that doing that, they will be able to overcome a large number of challenges and be able to perform to the best of their potential. Remember, uh, potential of an individual has nothing to do with, or has very little to do with, let us say, whether they have a 6 by 6 vision or not. People can, these are just some hurdles, and you will see, people around us uh, constantly and continuously and all the time overcoming several types of different types of hurdles to achieve the best in their lives. Another anecdote I could remember, there's something happened with me last year, is basically a very interesting incident that moved me a lot. Was that we have a faculty cricket club in the campus, and we were playing cricket, a bunch of us faculty colleagues. And typically teams from outside the campus come, every weekend on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then there's a cricket match. And on one fine day last year, there was a team that came, which was actually, it had a bunch of cricket players from the Indian National Paralympics cricket team. And I was seeing those individuals. Some of them had slightly deformed foot, slightly deformed legs, which was creating a bit of a trouble for them to walk. There was an individual who was bowling, and I was umpiring. I was, at the bowler's end, and I was looking at this individual who was missing at least two, probably three fingers on the right hand, the hand that he was using for bowling. And I saw that this individual had almost no expressions of any kind of inferiority or anything. Rather, was very proud, to have represented India, in the National Paralympics, in some international cricket Paralympics event. And the person was bowling rather fast and with a lot of swing and movement and here and there. And I was so surprised. And I just, everybody there was so moved because of their passion and their love for cricket, and more interestingly, the fact that they were not complaining. Now, this is also something that a lot of us should probably realize, is that people who are suffering from these disabilities are not complaining. They are rather spending their energy in overcoming these challenges. They are rather spending their mental resources, their grit and their determination in overcoming these limitations, and basically trying to do whatever they can in their limited means to overcome the challenges, and to be able to, and they want to compete. They do not want our patronizing attitude. They rather want us to treat them equally, and allow them to compete at the highest level, allow them to compete with the normal individuals. Herein, we need to be more sensitive. We need to sort of understand that how we can create the best environment for these kinds of things to take place. And that brings me towards, one of the sort of last points that I wanted to sort of talk about is, about the attitude of people who suffer from these disabilities themselves. And something that I've realized in the past few years, and having been interacted with a bunch of people, is that these are people, phenomenal people. Everybody has their own struggle in life. As normal individuals or people without disabilities, we all have our own struggles in life. And imagine if our struggles are compounded with a disability of sorts, with a disability of our sensory capabilities. Maybe if you were to have a restricted mobility, maybe one of the foot is not working properly, maybe a hand is not working properly, maybe you stop hearing well from one of the ears, or stop seeing well from your eyes. Imagine the exponential effect it would have on your daily struggles. And this is one of the things that one needs to really appreciate about people who sometimes undergo these disabilities, is that I have hardly come across somebody who was sulking about these things, or who was basically talking about the fact that oh, I have this problem and this makes life so difficult for me. I have never come across these individuals who would say that. In fact, I've rather come across people with disabilities who would always be bubbling with life, who would always be most enthusiastic, who would always be up and running, and probably much more energetic than some of our some of the people like me, for example, who would say, "Oh, maybe I'm very tired today, and it was a hard day at office, or I've worked the whole week, and maybe I just need to relax on a Saturday and Sunday." I typically see that this is something that needs to be nurtured. This needs to be supported. This needs to be, in some sense, be encouraged, because this is the life force that people with disabilities thrive upon. And we should support this. We should encourage this kind of attitude, that there is nothing in the world that is going to stop you from achieving whatever you set your eyes upon. And basically be very proud of whatever one has. And this goes for everybody, for that matter, that one needs to be very secure in your skin, as they say. Whatever abilities one has, or disabilities for that matter, is what you have, and you have to live with it. You have to do the best with your resources. And this is where I think, as a community, we should join hands, and we should help each other in order to help everybody in the society, from different sections of the society, from people who are suffering from any disability or not suffering from any disability, at the same time working together to help everybody reach their best potential, to not restrict their dreams to things that, oh, this can only be done by people who have uh, you know this set of abilities, or people who have these facilities, or people who have those resources. The idea is that ambition is typically not limited by the lack of resources. And if there is ambition, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be encouraged, it needs to be facilitated. One needs to be, and because and this is why I started with being grateful, because if you're grateful for what you have, you will understand the lack of it. And if you have that kind of empathy within yourself, you will be able to help people out who are uh, sort of in a position where they do not have the best of their sight, the best of their mobility, and so on. So this is also something that is very, very important as individuals and as a community, for us to realize and for us to work with. We have to be, and I'm giving this lecture in the sort of a capacity of a psychologist, which basically is rather interesting, because as psychologists, we are trained to understand people. We might be understanding their cognitive or mental functions, or we might be understanding their social aspects, social needs, their needs for power, achievement, motivations, their needs for belonging. So I think as psychologists, we are even better placed to do this. I mean, we should be very proud of the opportunity one has as a psychologist in order to understand people. Humanities as a whole, also, I believe that literature provides voice to a lot of unsaid and articulated facts about people with disabilities, and that is something that we need to be very sort of, I would say, careful, as well as proactive in providing a sort of a voice to people who suffer from these kinds of disabilities, and help them do their best, be there for them, encourage and nurture their ambitions, ensure that they are not suffering any undue disadvantages. All right. there is this very interesting dichotomy that people make, that there is a difference between equality and equity. Equity should probably, God has not made everybody equal. Let's understand that. But as a society, as a civil society, it is our aim to foster equity, to create a level playing ground for everybody who might be suffering from any kind of disability, for that matter. And the disabilities are not only physical. Disabilities could be mental. There are oftentimes mental roadblocks that people suffer through, some kind of hurdle in the way people think, some kind of, say for example, even depression, for example, is a major disability in my view, because people who are depressed, start losing themselves in the abyss. They start losing, they're constantly worried. Their life, the energy of life, the enthusiasm for life sort of starts going down. It's imperative that we sort of understand this. It is imperative that we sort of be sensitive to this. And another very important thing is to not stigmatize, to be very conscious of our attitudes, to be very conscious of what we are saying, to be very conscious of how we are making people feel around us. Because unless the atmosphere is secure, unless the atmosphere is makes everybody feels safe, encourages everybody and nurtures everybody, it will be very difficult for people to come out and express a lot of times what they want in the first place. So these are some of the things I think we would do well to understand and to be proactive in helping people out, to be proactive in creating an environment which fosters a secure conversation, which fosters a secure, a safe place for these people to express their ambitions, and for us to be able to help people realize their ambitions. And again, this goes for people with and without disabilities. It is probably a generic fact which applies to everybody, that we need to create environments where everybody feels safe, everybody feels secure, and everybody feels empowered to be able to achieve whatever they have set their goal, or set their eyes upon. I think, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, and I would like to, hand over the mic to Dr. Farah to conclude this. Uh, Dr. Farah, are you here?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Verma. So it's such a
Hi.
pleasure to be here with you. Dr. Farah has some other important appointments,
Sure.
so I have got this responsibility to give the word of thanks. And
All right.
we are so enlightened by your insights, and we are really grateful to you for the entire overview that you provided us with on such a significant and such a sensitive topic. So we're really
Thank you.
grateful to you for that, sir. And like there were like all you covered almost all the dimensions related to disabled people, relating it with the SDGC goals and the institutions and the role of institutions in the upliftment of this section of people. And moreover, what you said, that one needs to be grateful, one needs to be appreciative of what we have in life. क्योंकि we usually see what is there on other person's platter.
Exactly.
कि like in the meantime, when I was attending your lecture, I just got reminded of one famous quote that said that I cried because I had no shoes until I met a man without feet. So
Yeah.
when you said about being grateful and being appreciative of what we
Yeah.
have, जब आपने कहा कि आपके पास आईज हैं ना, हम लोग के पास आईज हैं, अगर जरा से भी उनमें अगर पानी आ जाता है, we are unable to see the world. So just imagine a person without eyes, just imagine a person without limbs. you know. So the main purposes in life is to be thankful, to be grateful for what you are blessed with. And sir, thank you so much for
Okay.
taking up all the aspects, be it the emotional, be it the factual aspect related to the disabled people. We were really so enriched by your knowledge and your the light that you threw upon on such a significant topic today. And one more thing that I would like to just
Hmm.
it just dawned on me right now, that we usually say that they are disabled people. But in my perspective, I feel that such people, they are actually specially able, specially able in the
Exactly.
sense because they are you know blessed with special amount of resilience, special amount of
Exactly.
bravery, special amount of patience, and that special amount of everything helps them to navigate through everyday's challenges. So it was just while I was attending your lecture, all these things dawned upon me, and I was like, I'm really so grateful to you, sir, for the knowledge that you provided us with. And I'm sure that our students and all the faculty and whosoever has attended today's lecture, they have definitely benefited from it. And क्योंकि हम ही लोग हैं जो ऐसे
Exactly.
व्यक्तियों के लिए कुछ कर सकते हैं. अगर हम ही लोग नहीं करेंगे, देन हु विल,
Mm.
है ना? तो वी आर द वंस हु कैन टेक अप देयर कॉज, वी कैन वर्क फॉर देम. एंड until unless we are not aware कि उनके क्या challenges हैं, है ना, उनकी क्या क्या समस्याएं हैं, हर रोज की क्या समस्याएं होती हैं, उनके क्या प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं, उनके क्या टर्मोइल्स होते हैं, इमोशनल टर्मोइल्स, है ना. इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट फिजिकल
Exactly.
डिसेबिलिटी, इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट द इमोशनल एस्पेक्ट, है ना, कि उनके हम लोग को जरा सी भी चोट लग जाती है, हम लोग की फंक्शनिंग खराब हो जाती है एवरी डे की, कि ये काम नहीं हो पा रहा, वो काम नहीं हो पा रहा, है ना, वी आर रेस्टिंग. जस्ट इमेजिन द लाइफ ऑफ अ पर्सन जिसकी who does not have eyes, who cannot speak, है ना, कि उनकी जीवन भर की उनकी क्या what kind of a life they will be living. So, thank you
Exactly.
so much, Dr. Ark Verma, for providing us with your valuable insights. We are so grateful to you, and we shall definitely be inviting you for further sessions on such important and core concepts and days. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating this day. We will be taking up the cause of such disabled
Sure.
people, and I hope and I pray that all of you who have joined would definitely अपना कोई आप भाग जरूर दोगे ऐसे लोगों के लिए, ऐसे व्यक्तियों के लिए, और हम सबको देना चाहिए. बिकॉज वी आर द ब्लेस्ड वंस, लाइक वी आर लिटिल मोर ब्लेस्ड, है ना. तो जब आपके पास बहुत ब्लेसिंग है, तो क्यों नहीं आप उनको दूसरों के साथ बांटो, है ना, कि जो किसी चीज से थोड़े से वंचित भी है, इफ दे आर डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ समथिंग, तो आप उनके साथ शेयर करो. सो दैट वुड बी माय अपील. And I'm sure that everybody here today, you all loved the lecture, enjoyed the lecture, and got benefited. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone
Thank you,
for
Akram.
joining.
Yeah, thank you. All
uh,
right. Thank you. Yeah.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for joining.